Hello, everyone. So, in this equation, I'd like to explain about the result of our study entitled Traditional Burmese Lexicons. So, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Katotrika Adiana from Ganesha University of Education or Universitas Pendidikan Ganesha. Well, nowadays, smartphones has replaced many things, and the existence of smartphones already replace traditional games because smartphones and internet provide children with mobile games, and this condition also happens in traditional Balinese game, in which more and more children now um, forget about Balinese traditional games and they play mobile games more than the traditional Balinese game. And this situation make the lexicons in those traditional games are no longer understood by most of the Balinese children. And considering that situation, so we try to do this study to identify and reckon the lexicon used in traditional Balinese game. So we want to reckon, and identify this lexicon in order to preserve them. And talking about the theories that we use in this study, we use three main theories. The first one is lexicon theories. The second one is language and culture. And the third one is endangered language theory. So lexicon, the theory of lexicon, we took the theory from Arnav and Ancients, who explained that lexicon is the list of words found in a language. But in this study, we tried to simplify it by defining it as a list of words found in traditional Balinese games. So the language and culture theories, we believe that language cannot be separated with cultures. So culture is actually the ones who preserve the language. It means that when it lost, parts of language also lost. And talking about endangered language, so we consider that, or we believe that Balinese language is now, in a state of endangered because more and more young learners or young Balinese children cannot speak in Balinese. And therefore, we think that it is very important to conduct this study. Next one, if we talk about the empirical review, we found there are some studies related to Balinese traditional games. The first one is the study conducted by Arya, who identified the reason why Balinese traditional games were no longer played by Balinese children. And he found that this is because of the mobile games. Now the children or Balinese children can be classified into Alpha and Z generation or Generation Z, who are more interested in mobile games. They cannot be separated with smartphones. And the second one is the study conducted by Lestari, who conducted a study to preserve Bali's traditional games by implementing them in one of the kindergarten in Bali. So Lestari also found that it is important to preserve Bali's traditional games. So they tried to implement it in one of the kindergarten in Bali. And they found that the children there are interested to play this game, and they recommend that we have to implement traditional games in more kindergarten to preserve these traditional games. And the next study is conducted by Jayendra, Vidyastudi, and Kusuma. They implemented Balinese traditional games to teach character education, and they found that Balinese traditional games can be an alternative strategy to teach character education. And the last one we found the studies conducted by Yogananda et al. And Pasta et al. They do the research, yeah, from photography perspective. So they study Balinese traditional games from photography perspective, and they found that many photographers take Balinese traditional games as their object of photography. So from those studies, we could say that no study has been conducted to preserve Balinese traditional games from linguistic point of view. Therefore, we conducted this study. Then, about the method that we use in the study. This study can be classified into an ethno-linguistic study that aims to preserve Balinese traditional games lexicon. The researchers collected the data through interviews. So the researchers start with one main or key informant, and then using snowballing technique to get another or other informants. And the researchers collected four other supporting informants, yeah, in this study. And to check the data trustworthiness, the researchers use source triangulation, while the collected data were analyzed qualitatively using interactive data analysis model that consisted of three steps: data reduction, data display, and conclusion drawing or verification. Okay, we jump to the result of the study. Yeah, since this is only preliminary studies, so we only try to identify and reckon the lexicons in Balinese traditional games. So the first finding that we can explain here is the lexicons in Balinese traditional games based on um, the names of games, tools, and rules. So from the names of games, yeah, we found 22 lexicons here because we identified 22 traditional Balinese games in this study. And from the game tools, we identified 30 lexicons. And from the game rules, we identified 34 lexicons. So in total, we have 86 lexicon altogether. And you can see here, we already provide you with those lexicon on the tables. Next, if we classify those lexicon into word class, we can say that from those 86 lexicon, we have identified 62 lexicons, yeah, that can be classified into nouns, and then non-lexicons that can be classified into verbs, and 5 lexicons that can be classified into adjectives. Okay. So from those study, yeah, from those results of study, we can conclude that there were 22 traditional games with total 86 lexicon were identified in this study. And those lexicon can be classified to names of game, tools, and rules. And the second conclusion is that lexicon were dominated by nouns and followed by verbs. Only few adjectives were identified in this study. Some of the lexicons are similar to Indonesian words. Yeah, since this study was limited to identify the traditional Balinese games lexicon, a further study to identify Balinese traditional games, yeah, to identify Balinese children understanding, of those lexicon is crucial to be conducted. Yeah, that study is important to be conducted because it will determine the existence of those lexicon. Well, that's all that I can explain, yeah, from our preliminary study, yeah, to identify and record the lexicon in Balinese traditional game. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you on another occasion. Bye bye.